Welcome, everyone, to the start of a brand new season. The seventh season of the HTL Daytona 500 comes up next here on ABN. Pre-race taking place at the moment. Drivers getting one last opportunity to dial things in before the race starts in about 20 minutes' time here in Daytona Beach, Florida, home of the World Center of Racing. We're glad you're with us for HTL on ABN for the 7th HTL Daytona 500. Everyone dialing things in, getting ready to go. 40 cars expected on the grid tonight. And it is going to be a pretty wild ride, all things considered. I'm glad you're with us for it. Should be a fun night of racing all together. .28 set lap times all ready for this event. We get set in practice. Josh Susie outside front row for the start of tonight's race. Top of the board in practice as things get adjusted and dialed in. Josh Susie, Hunter Peach, Pacey Wygant, who was not a part of the duels, but had a fill-in driver for that double zero. So that double zero is in place in the top 10 for the start of tonight's race. Alfredo Hidalgo Jr., who was pretty impressive in the duels last Monday as well. Bailey Thompson, top 5 in practice. All this not really representative. It's all going to be about avoiding chaos, avoiding drama across 125 laps. Easier said than done. What's my predicted podium finish? Really good question. And it's something that it's something that's taken me basically all week since the duels sort of really wrapped my head around what it could potentially be. I'm not going to give a direct podium prediction just because it's so hard to define. I think Susie's going to be in that mix. I'm going to give you a top 5. Not in any order, but the drivers I expect to be in that conversation for the race win, the top 5. Josh Susie, I think Patrick Overstat, I think Patrick or Steven Overstat are going to be in the mix. I don't think both of them are. I think one of them will be. I think Blake Henderson's going to be in that mix. I don't know if he's going to be he's not really ever been a front runner in that conversation, but he's always been a factor. So Susie, one of the Overstats. Blake Henderson would be the third. Keep an eye on Jeremy Braille, 74. I think he's sort of my dark horse. I think a lot of people in HDL don't really understand how good he is at this plate racing stuff. He's always in the mix. He's just always been quietly so here at Daytona. I expect Zach Meredith to be in the conversation. Whether or not he makes it to the finish line is a different story, but he should be in that conversation, at least at the front. And give me a little bit. This is my little outlier I'm going to kind of throw in here. Give me Dean Clavitt to come back to the front. A previous winner of this race, of the HTL Daytona 500 back in season 2. Sorry, back in season 2. It's been a little bit since he's been at the front like that. Give him a chance. I think he's going to be interesting to keep an eye on the 43. See if he can make some moves. He worked well with a lot of people in the duels. The issue is that there's a lot of new things going on, so it's hard to really sort of fathom and predict how this is going to play out. But those are the 5 I think that will be a genuine factor at the end of this race as far as trying to go for the race win. Um, it's all about positioning, and those 5 I think have a better idea of the positioning that you want to have. Um, And that's no knock on people like Bren Roberts, who won in Atlanta last season. That's no knock against Mark Kissenweather. No knock against, Kevin Feemster, Hunter Peach. There's a lot of really good drivers in the field that know how to get things done here. But just looking at the trends, looking at how the duels played out, those are the 5 I'm like, if they're in that conversation, I'm not going to be surprised. That being said, I do think Susie, being the most recent Daytona 500 winner in the field right now, he won in season 5. I think he's got a little bit of an advantage. So if you want to kind of toss in like betting favorite to Susie and his positioning, being on the front row, that can go places. 125 laps, 3 stages. Can't really say that it's going to stick, but it's a good start. As you see all the practice going on at the moment, a lot of drivers getting ready to looks like another little pit practice here. Looks like a lot of the Ascent cars in this conversation. You'll notice a couple things, and we'll pull this up as time goes on. So, scoreboard at the bottom, a little ticker at the bottom, covering sports. New addition, we kind of pulled it out last week. Now it's a lot more in-depth here. Updated sports as we go. A lot of baseball going on this evening as well. So if you're a baseball fan, that's awesome. We also have a little something. We'll play this in right now. That didn't play out the way I hoped it was going to, but there is your live scores for tonight. So obviously 2 Monday Night Football games and a highlighted baseball game just because. But we wanted to kind of pull something out. We'll tinker with that a little bit more as it goes along because obviously the sizing of that did not work the way we hoped. Which means that I'll have to adjust the middle one as well when that game goes live at 10 p.m. because we'll probably be live at that point. There you go. Adjusted for size. Awesome. But we'll pull this up throughout the night on the lower left of your screen, like the live scores of the games that really, really matter tonight. The 2 Monday Night Football games, Tampa Bay above Houston right now, 14-10 as they go into halftime. Later on tonight, in a couple hours, it's going to be the Chargers versus the Raiders. And then for Cincinnati-based, got to have our Reds included in there for baseball. And they're beating the Cardinals 3-1 right now. So that's cool. But we have a lot of stuff that we're going to be playing with here tonight. So we're glad you're with us as we get to pull out a couple of cool little perks to go with everything. Man, 40 cars set for the grid tonight. It's going to be a very large Daytona 500 field. It's going to be exciting. Seeing all these cars back on track again for the biggest race of the season. Some notes of averages here going into this race as we're about 10 minutes away from the kickoff of the 7th HTL Cup Series season. Your race winners are going to be those that are at the front more often than not. If you are in the lead of the race, you're usually in safety. The race winners of the HTL Daytona 500 have averaged 24 laps led in this event. So they've been up front for at least a fifth of the race in lead before winning. The only difference is season 1. That race was shorter. The leader led 15 laps in that situation. The average starting position, top 12. If you're in the top 12, you got a really good shot. That puts people like Josh Soucy in the conversation, in the firing line to get ready for that. But you look at the top 12. Look at the top 12, right? If we're looking at averages and we're looking at statistically where you want to be to start, Olivia Pereira, debutante, on pole position alongside Josh Soucy, Bren Roberts, Chad Slotsworth, row 2, Stephen Oversett, Hunter Peach, row 3, Blake Galloway, Dale Markowski, row 4, Mark Kissenweather, Zach Apperson, row 5, Pacey Wygent, and Dean Clavitt. That's your row 6. That's your top 12. If you're in that top 12, you're feeling pretty good, knowing that the average for your starting position is 11.6. That means chances are there will be someone that starts a little bit lower in the field that has a chance, as it is at Daytona all the time. Not a guarantee. Reading some of the Twitch chat here before we get ready to go live. Using state flags is a great idea. It's a shame most state flags aren't great. Yeah, but I mean, that's what happens when you try to turn crests into flags. Crests into flags don't often work. Let's see, going over some more notes here. Outside of season 1, where the margin of victory was almost 0.2 of a second, every margin of victory has been less than a tenth. Which is interesting. Except for last season, if you've led coming to the white flag, you've typically led the finish. So that's something to keep an eye on. Caitlin Height went from 9th to 1st last season to win. As we get everything ready to roll tonight, make sure everything works. There's the graphics. Awesome. We got a lot of things moving around tonight. So just making sure everything is up to speed. It looks like it is. And we have all 40 drivers on track ready to go tonight. Our pole sitter is on the racetrack, Olivia Pereira. There's a lot of anticipation in the air right now, which is exciting. A lot of excitement going into this race here tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing how these drivers interact. A lot of drivers on new teams. Silly season was a pretty wild thing. As soon as the season ended in July, season 6. Let's actually go over that for a quick moment. Well, I've got a chance here. So obviously we're looking at one of those changes. Alfredo Hidalgo in the 19 in place of Lily Sharp. Lily Sharp failed to qualify for the first time in her HTL Cup Series career. Did not make the show tonight. Hidalgo in her place. You see him working with Tyler Ratliff there. Hidalgo was a part-time driver last season. Drove the 24 at points, drove the 19 at points. Not 19. 24 and the 5 were the two cars he drove at points. But now he's got a full-time ride in that 19 for NFG Motorsports. That's a power pack team. Josh Soucy, who's on pit lane at the moment as well. moved to NFG as well to replace the 23, which was being driven by DJ Anderson. So as soon as he gets to 24, we have some spicy schemes coming in for the 24 this season. Excited about that. Carolina Beagle Racing got some big changes. Dale Markowski still on the roll here. Hoping for some better luck this time around. Not as a rookie. As he practices his pit lane starts. Tucker Sawyer moved over to replace John Hagan for Ascent Racing. He was a part of the Joshua Racing crew, the development team for Ascent. Last season, he's moved up to replace John Hagan, the former series champion. We'll see what he can do. He's still kind of getting a hold of the ovals. We've seen him grow in the ABN Champ Car World Series, and that growth continues here in HTL as well. Obviously, the debutante, Olivia Pereira, on pole position for tonight's event. Will make things pretty interesting on her own. Gone is the Gibney Racing division. That giant alliance is gone. Callie Height on her own. Not on the racetrack at the moment, but will be in that 87 car on a part-time basis. KJ Gibney also on a part-time basis for his own squad. He's not a part of Carolina Beagle Racing. He's a part of Lady Liberty Motorsports still. So we'll have to get that updated at some point. Byron Jones returns with Coast to Coast Racing, the Arizona native. Teammates with Zach Meredith once again after spending a season and change away. He's with Zach Meredith and, if I'm not mistaken, trying to remember off the top of my head, Angel Santiago is another driver he's going to be working with in the field. Santiago did not qualify for this race either. Should probably point that out. Trying to remember who the third Coast to Coast car is. My mind just drew an absolute blank on that one. Mark Parkhurst. Mark Parkhurst, the 90. Who's going to be in row 20, the last row of the field. That was the third driver. Took me a hot second. What we got there? But three-car effort there for Coast to Coast Racing as they expanded a little bit this off-season. We also have a proper debut of Kevin Feemster in 71. Feemster on pit lane right now. He's going to be teaming up with Jeremy Brault and Austin Mongold. Part of that three-car effort for B-Tron Racing. That team expanded to an additional car for Feemster in that 71. So it's the 29, the 71, and the 74 for that team, all of them in Chevrolets. Who has the most laps led at Daytona overall? That's actually a really good question. I don't have an immediate answer. I can look that up for a second. In fact, I will go ahead and look that up while we take a second for a break from HTL sponsor for tonight's race. I will look that information up for you, so enjoy. Welcome back, everyone, as we get ready for racing for the great simulation race, the 7th HTL Daytona 500. Action getting ready to come to you live from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. 40 drivers, one goal, one ambition, and that is win here tonight. Largest HTL Daytona 500 field in history. And all that comes to you next, right here on ABN. We talked about how important it was to be at the front of the field. The average amount of laps led, 25 laps led for the race winner on an average basis. We wanted to grab the driver with the most laps led in Daytona 500 history for HTL. That is a hard question to answer. Caitlin Height led Give me 1 second to see. We've completely stalled on the laps led. Only led 11 laps in her race win last season. As we get ready to go racing here in Daytona. Yeah, not a lot. Yeah, if you led the most laps at Daytona, chances are you've not been a race winner. Tommy Reynolds only led 12 laps, so a lot of the trend suggests that you're not leading that many now. So we'll see how that plays out. That being said, we do have the starting grid ready to go for tonight's event, and we're glad to get this underway. We'll start with the front row. Olivia Pereira on debut will lead the field to green alongside former two-time champion Josh Soucy as the field begins to roll here at Daytona. Row 2, Ren Roberts, former two-time race winner last season alongside Chad Slotsworth, who's been a championship contender every season. He's been in HTL. Still looking for the championship, though. Is this season his season? He starts on row 2, upside. He's in 4th. Stephen Oberstadt, winner in ARCs at Daytona, has never won an HTL at Daytona. Does that change tonight? He's in 5th alongside Hunter Beach. Blake Galloway, one of the open entries that qualified their way in on speed. He's alongside Dale Markowski. But on the number 5 car, he's been pretty spicy here during speed weeks. The top 10 earmarked by Mark Kissenweather and Zach Apperson. Apperson, one of his best starting spots in Daytona 500 history. He's in the top 10 for the first time. Casey Wygent and Dean Clavin in row number 6. That's your top 12. A little bit further on here, fixing a couple audio issues. Riley Garcia and Tucker Sawyer in row number 7 as we get ready to race here in Daytona. 2 formation laps here at the World Center of Racing. Alfredo Hidalgo and Eli Sasek in row number 8. Patrick Oberstadt, Bailey Thompson make up row number 9 together. Looking a little bit further forward, row 10, at your top 20, Richard Odie and Cody Pinnell make up that row on their own there. Byron Jones and Matt Vondren in row 11. Row 12, Josh Stoltz and Josh Arnold. Not a great starting position for Josh Arnold as he tries to grab another crown jewel after winning the Brickyard 400 last season. But never say never for the number 12 for Militia Racing Club. Ross Baxter, Dustin Hall in row 13. Row 14, Tyler Ratliff and Blake Henderson. It was not great days last Monday for either of them. We'll see how that changes tonight. Jeremy Braille and Kyle Taub in row 15. Kyle Taub had to sweat it out in the duels to make it into the field tonight. Did so. Outran Angel Santiago to do so. Row 16, 31st, 32nd, Elias Flores and Randy Payne. Zach Meredith and Gary Donaldson in row 17, all on their own. Austin Mongold and Alfred Denny on row 18. And issues for the 96 of Olivia Pereira has, I think, dropped out. Nope, there's the 96. Concerns, though, for latency going to be a factor. You do not want that early on. That is an absolute certainty. Row 19, Callie Height and KJ Gibney. As we get ready to go racing, Callie Height was not a part of the duels. A lot of these drivers at the back of the field did not take part in the duels last Monday. Row 20, also drivers that did not take part in the duels, starting at the back of the field, Mark Parkhurst and Kevin Feemster, with the most work to do, 39th and 40th on this field. 40 cars, one ambition, and that is to win the Daytona 500. We get to see it all come to fruition here tonight. The green flag is in the air, and the HTL Daytona 500 is underway. Season 7 is green. Lap 1 in the books of 125. And it is Olivia Pereira that leads the way. We saw in the duels with half the field in those duels. The inside lane was the prevalent line. The outside lane took the right combination to get put together. We're seeing that also early on here. How much are they really pushing, though, is the huge question to talk about here in Daytona on the opening laps. We'll pull up bottom left of your screen exactly what this race is going to be composed of. Stage 1 ends on 25, and we got a caution early. Several cars involved early on here in Daytona. Kyle Tao, Blake Henderson was well behind the pack here. KJ Gibney also looks like he got a piece of it. Dean Clavitt got a piece of it. Kevin Feemster at the back of the field also got a piece of it as well. Mark Parkhurst might have gotten away with it. Looks like he did get away with it. He is back there in that conversation. Some cars coming down pit lane. Austin Mongold looks like he got a pretty substantial hit. See the 87 of Callie Height also in that conversation. Not a great start here in the HTL Daytona 500. A lot of people impatient at the back of the field. Let's go ahead and take a look. This is in the field here. This is going into turns 1 and 2. I'll play in slow motion. Dustin Hall gets turned. Who does he get turned by? He gets turned by Kyle Talbot, looks like. I'll have to play that again and see if we can get a better look at it here. This is from the spotter cam. And yeah, this looks like the 56 of Kyle Talbot trying to go down the middle of the racetrack here. ABN quarter speed. Yeah, it looks like he just kind of arrow pulled. I don't know if Dustin Hall was intending on coming down in front of him or if Kyle Taub just pulled him around. A little bit too ambitious going 3 wide for 30th on lap 4. I would have to say. Just a hunch. I know I haven't done a whole bunch of these races, but I don't believe anyone that's done that from 30th has gone on to win the race. And that's unfortunate because that puts a lot of drivers behind the 8 ball early on here. It puts about almost a dozen drivers behind the 8 ball with some sort of damage before this race even gets started. Thankfully, that stage on lap 25, that stage break, will help out a little bit. But that's not great by any stretch of the imagination. And obviously Kyle Taub wearing the brunt of the mess he created with engine damage on that 56 car is not going to be pleasant. And you see the list of cars here. This is live pictures of all of the carnage on the racetrack. This is Meredith trying to get rolling again. Stage breaks only on the super speedways, Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, and the road courses like it was last season. So when we head to the next race on the calendar, Las Vegas, not going to be the case. Neither will it be at Michigan, October 20th. Or October 6th, Kern Raceway. There's your upcoming calendar here as we get ready to go through September and October. As we mentioned, lap 25, stage 1. Important, especially for those that are now damaged and need help in stage 1. Stage 2 ends on lap 75. So it gets a little bit harder as this race goes along. See the fuel mileage, 28 to 31 laps. That means you can comfortably get through stage 1 without pitting. Even more so now with this caution. No one in the top 26 pit. Everyone 28th on down. So Blake Henderson, who was not involved in the caution, and then those involved, Garcia on down in 3rd and 29th and 30th. They will have some work to do. So caution early for the first time for an accident caused by Kyle Taub and Dustin Hall. As Taub tried to put it 3 wide, and a dozen cars wrecking for not last as a result. Kevin Feemster 1 lap down, getting everything repaired on that 71 car, but he is back out and running. And if he stays the only car a lap down, that is free pass for the next caution if we get to the stage. Olivia Pereira at the front of the field alongside Brandon Roberts. Stephen Oberstadt in row 2 alongside Blake Galloway. Pereira had lane choice, chose the inside to split up the Carolina Beagle Racing cars. The 81 and, or sorry, not the 81's there as a teammate, Matt Vornder, but he's not in the top 10. The 83 of Brendan Roberts and the 3 of Stephen Oberstadt teammates. So Pereira splitting those 2 up. Not going to be a factor right now. They're both going to still push like mad to try to get that track position. But keep an eye on those 2. Those 2 expected to be at the front most of the day. Those 2 worked together to dominate Duel 1 on Monday last week. That's how they got their track position. They started 3rd and 5th in the field. We'll see what happens here. As the field gets ready to come back to green. The green flag flies and away we go once again in Daytona. Roberts, Galloway, and Kissenweather, the top three on the outside lane. And the outside lane's going to get a pretty good surge of momentum out of turn 2. Is it enough for Roberts to clear Pereira? I think so. Galloway's clear as well and slots in at the bottom. Kissenweather, a latency for the number 2. And that's going to be a problem. Outside lane bogged down. Not sure if they're trying to give space for Kissenweather to return or not. He has not returned yet, so they're going to push forward. Pacey Wygen at the front of the field on that outside lane now as well, as drivers move back and forth between lanes. Apperson in the top 5 right now. He's behind Wygen on the outside lane. Tucker Sawyer also top 10. He's third on the outside. And indeed, trouble for Kissenweather, the number 2. He's going to try to rejoin quickly. Otherwise, he would be the first retirement of the HTL Daytona 500 and the HTL season at large. Got a couple onboards here. We'll go on board with the 25 of Blake Henderson real quick. Kind of show you what we're dealing with here. This is Blake Henderson in 20th. Started this race 28th. Restarted in 35th position, so he's already made some pretty decent headway early on here. Everyone bobbling back and forth here in traffic. No fuel saving going on at the moment. It's full push. Everyone trying to get to the top 10 stages, score stage points. You win the stage, that's 10 extra bonus points for you. Finish 10th, 1 point's better than none. So you can just see how much the ebb and flow really exists in this field. You have to be patient. You have to mind your manners, which is why what happened on lap 4 was so surprising, that it happened that early. In fact, there are still there's a couple cars that are still struggling here. Overstack getting out of the way. Saw him dropping backwards. He was not comfortable with how that top 10 was looking and how they were racing. Decided to bow out of it. He's thinking race win, not stage points. Can't blame him. Can't blame him. Pacey Wygen leads the way over Bren Roberts, Blake Galloway, Olivia Pereira, your pole sitter, in 4th, Josh Susi in 5th, as things run. Again, a caution early. We were afraid that might set the tone. That may not be the case. It is single file now dominating the point of conversation here. Mark Kissenweather has returned to the racetrack. He is multiple laps down here, but he is back rolling, so we have all 40 cars once again on the racetrack. And he's going to need a lot of help to make that happen. As we mentioned before, Kevin Feemster, the only car a lap down at the moment. Austin Mongold in trouble, though. There's Mongold and there's Kissenweather behind him. They're going to try to work together to avoid going a lap down here, but it's not looking good for Mongold. He is not far from going a lap down, and that's going to put a little bit of pressure on Kevin Feemster, knowing that there's going to be company, and that's going to make things a little bit harder for the number 2 of Kissenweather. Try to get back on the lead lap. He's going to need to hope for some chaos here. Feemster on an island as well at the moment. I believe that is with Gary Donaldson. It is. So everyone's struggling a little bit here. Single file all the way through. I believe we have gone all the way to the top 18 cars, single file. The inside lane has done the thing it did last Monday, and that is dominate early on. Now keep an eye. The outside lane became the place to be late in the race as the track cooled down. That could be a factor again. Track temperature is very important in these cars. Saw one car go outside lane in the mid-pack. That was the 16, I believe. Let me double check on that. Nope, that's the 6th, Chad Swackford. Read that a little bit wrong. One of the Militia Racing Club cars. He's in 12th, and he's going to struggle a little bit. He's trying to get that outside lane going, but there's just nothing there. And he's going to drop backwards pretty hard. Weather on the side of your screen, giving you a little bit of an idea here. Air temp 75, track temp 85. So the track temp has already gone down a pretty decent amount for this race so far. Not a lot of wind compared to last week as well. Last week, winds were touching 15 miles an hour. We're sitting between 5 and 8 mile an hour winds right now. A lot more comfortable, all things considered. YG continues to lead the way over Roberts and Galloway at the moment. Everyone minding their P's and Q's. Expect some people to make some moves, or try to make some moves, after lap 20 with 5 to go in the stage. That's where we're sitting at the moment. Top 10 right now, pretty secure. That will change as this race goes along. Lap traffic will become a factor as well in a couple laps. And stage break into lap 25. They got to get to the end of lap 25 for the stage break. If a caution comes out after lap 20, between lap 20 and 25, that caution will automatically end the stage instead. So, got to keep an eye on that as well. One wrong move, trying to go for stage points, could end the stage altogether. And with where some people are at right now, could end some races early on as well, too. Luckily, we still have all 40 cars running here, but it could change on a dime. As we are coming to 6 laps to go in stage 1. on our Chevrolet onboards at the moment. Callie Height sitting further back in the field, 30th place at the moment, trying to get that outside lane to work a little bit behind. That is, if I'm not mistaken, that is Byron Jones that she's behind right now. It is the 60. Outside lane working a little bit. Trying to grab all the spots she can. Two top fives, both those on road courses, looking for a top five for the first time on an oval. Had a couple near misses last season. Las Vegas comes to mind. We'll be there next week. That was a good race for her. Didn't have the right outcome, but a good run. See how it plays out here. She's trying to move forward here. She's well outside the top 10, not looking at stage points, but looking at track position. Still an important game to play. Especially this far back in the pack, you want to be as far forward as you can. As you can tell, not going to be easy or straightforward here with single file being the name of the game throughout the top 20. Looks like a Sienna and Joe show trying to run that outside lane together. A lot of Toyotas in that outside lane. Melissa Racing Club up there as well. And here we go. The conversation changes. Car coming down off the apron. Believe that was Kevin Feemster, I do believe. I might be wrong on that. The lap car is going to be a factor, and they're going to be in the way. Donaldson gets off the racing surface, goes below the yellow line. That's the out of bounds line, but you're good to go if you're able to drop position. Get some other Mongold will go a lap down here again. Again, a lot of these drivers affected by the caution on lap 4. 2 laps to go in stage 1. And it is Pacey Wygent, your former HTL Cup Series champion, that leads the way, trying to play both lanes. Bryn Roberts in second. Oh, huge crash. Huge crash. Caution's out. That's the big one. That's the big one. Huge crash to end stage 1. Huge crash. I believe Pereira got turned in front of the field. At least 15 cars. I counted closer to 20. Huge trouble in stage 1. The stage is over. Wygent wins stage 1. Roberts second. Galloway third. And beyond that, your guess is as good as mine on how that stage is going to end. And who gets those stage points. And it's going to be a consolation because there's a lot of cars that are junked now. A lot of junked race cars. It's going to take us a second to go over this replay. So let's take a look at what happened here. 3 wide. This is further back. It starts ahead of this, unfortunately. It starts up near the front. Does it start with Pereira getting turned by Josh Soucy? That is the question we get to ask. See if we can get a proper camera up here going. I think this is the best cam we got. Taking a look. Yeah. Let me go. Wasn't paying attention. Did Pereira move up? Was that the conversation being had? Yeah, Pereira moved up. Pereira moved up trying to side draft the 83, and Susie wasn't buying it. So when Pereira tried to come back down, no space at all. Hard hits, Susie, Sasek, Markowski, 95 of Stoltz, Cody Pennell. Pereira comes down in front of Garcia. 6 of Swatsworth involved. 12 of Arnold. Trouble for Ross Baxter. Dustin Hall trying to squeeze the middle. Doesn't work. Elias Flores involved. Tyler Ratliff involved. Nasty crashed in stage 1. Right on board with one of our Ford cameras, Blake Anderson. He was well outside of this group, so he rolls up on a pretty chaotic scene. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Callie Height would have been in that conversation. We'll see if we can get on board of her real quick. You see how much they had to come to a complete stop. And you see what's left. On board Callie Height. Not a whole lot you can do in this situation. Really good move, though, by the 87. Goes from top to bottom. Unfortunately, just runs out of real estate. That was Jeremy Braille, 74. A little bit more damage on the nose of that car. It was already slightly used. And of course, the hard hits for Josh Susie. We'll take a look here. And you're going to see already off center a little bit on the 96, trying to side draft the 83. And it goes sour pretty quickly. Yeah, and that was pretty hard turn of events there. Leader of the race now, as we get ready to start stage number 2, Alfredo Hidalgo over Pacey Wygant, Bren Roberts, Blake Galloway, and Matt Vorndren as we sit getting ready for stage 2. While we get ready to go back racing under green, we'll take a second to step aside for a word from Henderson Graphics and get ready for racing. Top 5, bottom of your screen. Alfredo Hidalgo, Pacey Wygant, front row. Bren Roberts and Blake Galloway, row 2. Matt Vorndren shares row 3 with Kyle Taub as we get ready to go back racing to start stage 2. 2 cautions so far. And both of them have been pretty serious accidents. We'll see how this plays out. As we get ready to go back racing once again. Green flag flies, stage 2 underway. Hidalgo leads the first lap under green from the stage. 23 cars involved in one way, shape, or form in that caution on lap 24. Over half the field. A little bit of herd thinning on that conversation. 4 cars off the lead lap. Steven Oberstadt, Austin Mongold, Kevin Feemster, and Mark Kissenweather. All a lap down. 36 cars on the lead lap, all the way back to Dustin Hall, who is not doing great at the moment. He is a sitting duck right now. There's the one of Dustin Hall, not having a great start of the season at the moment. Tombstone as a whole struggling a little bit. Gary Donaldson also off the pace. This 4-car group also off the pace a little bit. That is Flores, Markowski, Susi, and Henderson all in that conversation, along with Olivia Pereira just up the road. So a lot of cars already off the pace with damage. That will make life difficult as this race goes along. Teammates at the front, the 83 and the 81, Roberts and Vorndren, lead the way as things sit right now. Not a lot of people in HTL Circle will know about Matt Vorndren. He was a championship Ford contender in the ARCS A Cup Series that just concluded. Ended up finishing behind Brandon Fetterplace, the series champion. Put up a really strong fight there. Also contended in the ARCS High Octane Series. Still races are on a part-time basis on Saturday nights. But he's got some prowess in these Gen 7 Cup cars. And he's on a team that knows how to get it done here at Daytona. Blake Galloway in third. That's Hidalgo and Apperson, your top 5. So Apperson really carrying the flag for Tombstone Motorsports tonight so far in that top 5. Henderson not having a great time. Donaldson, Dustin Hall also not having a good time at the moment as things run. See how the outside lane comes together. Wygent once again leading the outside lane. Goodness. Not easy though. Josh Arnold, Kyle Tao, Bailey Thompson, Richard Odie in the top 10 as well at the moment. Pit stops, if we go without a caution to a certain degree in this stage, pit stops will be a factor. As we saw earlier, 28 to 31 laps on a tank of fuel. Stage 2 by itself is 50 laps. So you have to pit at some point here reasonably before lap 60 or around lap 60. If you're saving fuel, you might be able to get to 61, but you can't go all the way to 75. Wygent getting to the front of the field. Outside lane is on a charge. Kyle Tao behind Pacey Wygent. Richard Odie in third. Tucker Sawyer in fourth on the outside lane. The issue is that once Wygent moves to the bottom, that outside lane is going to wither and die. Kyle Tao with the damage on the front of that car still going to be in trouble with that parachute on the nose. Kyle Tao needs to be pushing somebody. He cannot be leading that line. And you saw just as quickly as quickly as Wygent got to the front, got dropped backwards. in the top 3 once again clear. Top 4 now clear. Inside lane, trusting the process as it goes along. Kyle Tao dealing with some overheating, had to back off of the 00. And that's another issue for the 56, is that he's going to be overheating a lot with the damage on the nose of that car. Restricted airflow to the radiator, keeping these engines cool. And that's going to make life even more difficult. Trying to side draft now the outside lane on the inside. We'll see what they can do. $29 cars in this lead pack out of the 40 that started. We have a group of 5, about 3 seconds off the pace at the moment. And we have another small group that's about to be lapped here in about 7 laps. Actually, it looks like that group of 5 that we were watching drift away, they are actually back on track here. Riding on board with our 2-time series champion and former HTL Daytona 500 champion, Josh Susie. Right now sitting in 29th, but they are there. They are in that lead pack. So that lead pack's actually 34 cars right now. One of our Toyota onboards for the former series champion and front row starter. Few onboards available here. Obviously, we saw Callie Height, we saw Blake Anderson. 2 per manufacturer. For the 3 manufacturers in the series, Josh Susie, the 2-time former champion, has one, as does Shad Swassworth, the number 6 for this race tonight. On the Ford camp, it is Blake Henderson and Zach Meredith. And for Chevrolet, Callie Height and Steven Oberstadt. And for Susie, as he sits in the 29th position, not making any moves to move forward. He was up front when that second caution came out on lap 24. And not willing to go through it again. $34 cars, though, in this lead group. Bryn Roberts continues to lead the way here at Daytona. 14 laps led for the Maryland native. He sits at the front of the field about to take on a lap car. This is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, we are quickly approaching Dustin Hall. And we are. Dustin Hall hugs the white line. Forcing the field to go around him. No laps led. Obviously, Dustin Hall just wanted to blend into the lead group here. That's why you didn't see him go below the yellow line or go to the wall. He was trying to blend in, and what that's done is that's triggered a 3-wide situation behind him. Oftentimes, though, we see that kind of backfires. Obviously, for Dustin Hall, he's now the first car a lap down. He's trying to get back on the lead lap. Typically, that results in being involved in the next caution because the bottleneck that comes out of that usually isn't good. It worked out there for now, but we're still 3 wide and 5 rows. Obviously, Dustin Hall knows that. He's a veteran. Years of experience. He knows the calculated risk that comes with it. But also knows that if he doesn't do it, he's got no shot at getting back on the lead lap, and he's got no shot at a good finish. His teammate, Gary Donaldson, different approach. He's like, okay, yep, I'm going to go a lap down here. And this goes off the yellow line. If you're a race leader, you appreciate that approach a lot more. Dustin Hall's had a very mediocre 25 races leading up to this. He wants a good run. So he's going to try a little bit harder to course correct here in that one car. To try to start this season on the foot that really never got started last season. He's behind the leaders at the moment. He's behind Hidalgo on the inside lane, as he's forced his teammate to lead the outside lane, and I don't think Apperson wanted to. But Wygen's all game for it. So they'll push. More issues for Mark Kissenweather. Returning to the racetrack once again, almost 20 laps down, 17 laps down right now. He has had a boatload of issues in that 2 car. It has been a nightmare start for him. Last season's Rookie of the Year. You see him below the yellow line coming out of pit lane after another technical issue on that number 2 car. Apperson and Thompson immediately go to the bottom of the racetrack at the front of the field. And here comes Wygen again. So the lone Tombstone car with any fight left in the game so far is leading the way. The other 3 pretty well down in the dumps. Dustin Hall a lap down, Donaldson also a lap down, and Henderson at the back of the field trying to avoid more melee after getting a piece of both the opening cautions. Apperson and Thompson ended off last season pretty strong. All things considered, they've just not been good here. Maybe the title turn here. Right now, they are at the front. We'll start lap 46. As we get closer and closer to lap 55, lap 60 mark, pit stops become a little bit more and more of a conversation. When do you come down pit lane? Who do you come down pit lane with? You do not want to pit alone here at Daytona. That is a pretty good way to kill your race in one move. So who do you come down with? The 4 and the 27, they'll work together. We know that. 81, the 83, they'll work together. The 8, the 88, also in that conversation. Who do you work with out of that pit stop sequence to try to get to the front of the field for the stage on lap 75? Interesting questions. Inside lane outnumbers the outside lane 2-1. There are 37 drivers in this group. The 3 lap down cars that are 1 lap down. Dustin Hall, Stephen Oberstadt, and Austin Mongold all in this group. Dustin Hall, the first car a lap down as things currently sit. Well, we're handy-dandy scoreboard tracker at the moment. A couple of the games that are going on at the moment, Tampa Bay and Houston. The score has not changed, even though we've gotten into the fourth quarter. Still the Buccaneers over the Texans, 14-10, and 11 minutes to go in regulation in Tampa. Cincinnati has not scored since the second inning, and they are now behind 4-3 to the Cardinals at the moment. Top of the seventh in Cincinnati. And coming up here in about 40 minutes is the start of the second Monday Night Football game on the West Coast. It is the Chargers hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Keep an eye on that for you. All scores from the day and the weekend, bottom of your screen as well. Apperson continues to lead, has now led 6 laps here in the Daytona 500. Bren Roberts sitting in third, 18 laps led at the moment. Most laps of anybody so far through the first 50. Steven Overstaff has one of our Chevrolet onboards, and it is not really a fun time if you're the number 3. He's leading the outside lane. Awkward time for him at the moment. There's Patrick Overstaff just behind as you see pit stops underway. Pit stops coming early. They decided to split the stage in half. Very interesting. Swatsworth, Arnold, Jones, Taub, Meredith, and Parkhurst come down pit lane early. With a 6. Not a bad number. If all of them come out pit lane together and synchronize, that's a pretty good group to have. Battle for the free pass. Overstaff getting around Dustin Hall. Maybe. There's just no numbers on that outside lane right now. It is difficult. But the 3 and the 1 battling for the free pass spot. As Apperson continues to lead. Thanks to those pit stops, Blake Henderson's made his way into the top 10. And he's going to check up a little bit. And that outside lane is going to get a little momentum. That's how the outside lane really moves forward. The checkups on the inside lane, as everyone has to give it momentum. That is where the outside lane inches its way forward. And just as quickly as Henderson got into the top 10, he gets thrown right back out of it. That cluster of 6 cars did hook up well. And they stayed on the lead lap. So keep an eye on this group. They just got around Gary Donaldson. They did. Gary Donaldson, that 22 car, did not come down pit lane with them. He is still a wounded car, about to go a second lap down here. Mark Parkhurst did not leave pit lane on the same wavelength. He took tires. They all took 2 tires. Parkhurst was just a lot slower on his pit lane by about 4 seconds, which is not great. But a group of 5, still not bad. still able to get them forward and keep them ahead on the lead lap. This group, if they stay as they are right now, might be able to cycle to the front of the field as more cars come down pit lane. And it is the Ascent Armada, and that's trouble for several of those cars. Sasek speeding, and I believe that might have been Pereira as well. So Ascent not as smooth with it as the Coast to Coast cars. Huge trouble, and that's, I'll be surprised if Sasek didn't get a speeding penalty there. Yep, speeding penalty. Eli Sasek being held. Same with Pereira. Pereira, speeding penalty. Will be held, will go a lap down. Carolina Beagle Racing, a lot of the Chevrolets coming down pit lane this time. And there's trouble behind. Who is that? Trouble on the pit lane. And that is, I believe, that was Randy Payne that got spun. So, more traffic, more drama. Apperson, Thompson, Hidalgo, Odie, Henderson, Denny, Ratliff, Garcia, Peach, and Susie have all yet to come down pit lane. Same with Dale Markowski. Do they come down pit lane this time? They do. Hidalgo stays out. The NFG Motorsports team all staying out here. Hidalgo, Garcia, Ratliff, Peach, and Susie, all 5 of them staying out. They'll go out the longest. But chaos and strife on the first green flag pit stops of the night. Going over all the speeding penalties. Sasek, Flores, Pereira, all caught speeding. Blake Galloway speeding. Bryn Roberts speeding. Gibney back down pit lane. Unsafe pit exit. Matt Vordren also back down pit lane. A lot of troubles on pit lane as the top 5 make their way in, and trouble further back. That is Gibney, who is spun around backwards. Richard Odie, fuel only stop for him, for Oberstadt, and for Jimmy Braille. This is the lead group. Not a lot of this is lead lap cars, though. A lot of cars on the lap down train. These are where a lot of the drivers that had speeding penalties ended up cycling through. Oberstadt, Odie, Braille, Thompson, Markowski, and Apperson, the lead lap cars in this group. It does look like, for the most part, NFG did get away with that. Not a lot of luck there for the 40 of Riley Garcia. He did not leave the pit lane on pace with everybody else. But the 4 full-time cars, they did leave together. Hidalgo, Susie, Peach, and Ratliff. So they will be with a fighting chance at the end of this stage. Not a bad effort for the full-time cars there, including the rookie Hidalgo. And that gives us about 10 cars exact on the lead lap in this train. Coming to 16 to go in stage 2. It is Hidalgo, Susie, Peach, and Ratliff that lead the way at the moment. For those split screening, watching us and watching Monday Night Football, Texans with C.J. Stroud trying to lead a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. Under 7 minutes to go, close to, I think, under 6 minutes to go in Tampa. That game will come to an end, and then the West Coast game will start in Los Angeles. $15 to go in stage 2. Alfredo Hidalgo leads the way. Josh Susie, former two-time champion, former race winner of the HTL Daytona 500, has a way better view this time than he did when we last were on board with him. Susie looking for his 13th career win in HTL competition. He is second behind Caitlin Height, who has 18 wins in her career. Spotters get a very interesting look from up above the broadcast booth here at the World Center of Racing. If you're an NFG spotter, this makes it a lot easier for those cars right here. And that's going to make it very difficult for those that are not NFG to try to take over the lead. Guaranteed 4 cars that are going to be in line working together here. Susie pushing Hidalgo. Peach in third. Tyler Ratliff in fourth. As things sit at the moment, cars about to go a lap down include Bren Roberts and Blake Galloway. So not how they wanted this race to go. Speeding penalties for both of them, putting them well behind the 8 ball here as they try to stay on the lead lap coming to the stage break. Free pass only goes to the first car a lap down. Right now that is Flores. Galloway and Roberts are going to make that a lot more complicated. Ascent Racing has not had a great time so far. Several of those cars off the lead lap now. Pereira, Sasic, Flores, all off the lead lap. As Donaldson comes down pit lane on his own. Almost a really bad bump there by Susie and Hidalgo, and it's going to allow the outside lane to begin to move. 11 laps to go in the stage. And caution has come out. And it is for, I believe, Zach Apperson. No, that is, I think, after the caution, Apperson got spun. I'm not sure what happened to the 4, but also not sure what happened to cause the caution. We will take a look and see here. This will wrap things up a little bit. I believe Elias Flores gets the free pass. Let's take a look and see what happened with this yellow flag that came out. Is this with so this is with Apperson. Oh, it's with Sasic. Ooh. So it was in this lead group. That's where Apperson got spun. He was going through the grass trying to avoid it. So Sasic got turned. So we need to focus on the 9 car here on this yellow flag. He's on the outside lane. Who is he getting pushed by? Let's go to our handy dandy blimp cam here. That is Patrick Oberstadt that spins the 9 around. Odie gets a huge piece of it there. That is not good. Apperson avoiding the melee, trying to stay on the lead lap and trying to stay out of trouble. That was Dale Markowski. Dale Markowski was the last car involved in that. Wow. So not helpful for him. That was Jeremy Braille also involved a little bit in this caution. Huge hit. Huge for impact there for Sasek. Completely pancaked the back of that Toyota. And that resets things a little bit for this upcoming sprint to the end of stage 2, as the sun now is sitting behind the grandstands here at Daytona. Third caution of the night. So making pretty good pace here at Daytona for the season opener. Some score updates around the league. Is again, you see them at the bottom of your screen right now. Atlanta Braves defeating the Washington Nationals 11-3. Texans got a field goal in Tampa 13-14 with 5:32 left in the game there. One of the games we're tracking here on Monday night. The Cubs beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-0. Orioles are leading the White Sox 4-1. The Minnesota Twins leading the New York Yankees 3-0. Cincinnati Reds leading the Cardinals still 6-4. Cardinals pull one back, 5-6 in Cincinnati against the Reds. Not a lot of cars came down pit lane under this caution as we get ready to go 1 to green and get ready to go back racing. Waiting for the lights to kick on here in Daytona. Callie Height in the top 10 at the moment. Helmet cam for the number 87 of Callie Height, as she sits top 10 for this restart. Pretty dark. Waiting for the lights to come on here. Lights come on here shortly. We've got to be coherent and aware of what's about to happen. Again, stage 2 ends on lap 75. We'll see what we get here. Going to be a pretty wild run to the end of stage 2. Remember, a caution between laps 71 and 75 ends the stage on the spot. That's how it happened on stage 1, lap 24, when that caution came out with a 23-car accident. – 28 cars on the lead lap. Here we go. Teamwork makes the dream work. All 4 NFG cars lined up again. They are clear. They can move to the bottom if they want to. And they do. Patrick Oberstadt 5th. Odie, Braille, Baxter, Height, and Taub, your top 10. Braille leading the outside lane. Twelve cars a lap down at the moment as things sit. Steven Oberstadt right now, the first car a lap down. Braille tried clearing himself. That was on the nose of Josh Arnold. And Arnold said no. Report that Bailey Thompson out of the Daytona 500. Following that lap 65 crash. It is still 1, 2, 3, 4 NFG. Newfound glory, finding some glory here in Daytona. Team owner DJ Anderson watching on as his team leads the way at the moment and leads strongly in the process. Patrick Oberstadt in 5th, Richard Odie in 6th. Ross Baxter, Kyle Taub, Tucker Sawyer, and Cody Pennell now in your top 10 as things sit. Callie Heights dropped down to 19th place from in the top 10 on the restart. Has had a parachute all the way to the back. Caution's out, caution's out. I believe it's Kissenweather. It is. He has got a part of it. But he is not the only one. It was on the front straightaway. Stage is over. And it's maximum points for NFG. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Intriguingly, most of the cars involved in this a lap down. Donaldson, Hall, Kissenweather, all a lap down here. And not really even in contention for the free pass. That'll go to Steven Oberstadt. He will get back on the lead lap as our 29th car on the lead lap. So what happened to draw this caution that will end the stage early? Looks like it's already started here. That is the 2 of Kissenweather, I believe, with Dustin Hall. And it looks like, as I mentioned before, it's already started. And it looks like it starts with Apperson. It doesn't start really with either of them. We'll back it up here. And we'll get a good look. Not that one. There we go. This is what the spotters saw coming to the start-finish line. Dustin Hall, the blue and white car in the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, Garcia checks up Hall as Apperson tries to move down the racetrack as well. And way too much momentum there. Kissenweather has the choice to make, top or bottom. Goes bottom because he sees everyone move top. And Dustin Talday goes from bad to worse. Donaldson slammed the brakes, turned himself to avoid making contact with either of them. So he didn't actually get any damage out of that. He just, other than his tires being completely torn up. That is difficult. And that is everyone just trying to shoot for gaps late in the stage. Right on board with the 4 of Apperson, I believe, if we can get it on a shot of one of the onboards there on the Ford. Looks like we will. Here we go. Yeah, he sees Dustin go by him, and then Dustin has to check out for Garcia. And watches it all happen in front of him at that point. Unfortunately, all you can say is Garcia came down the racetrack and got in front of Dustin Hall, and the momentum shift was pretty sudden. You see Dustin Hall in pit lane. You see the damage on the nose of that number 1 car. Not looking good. So stage 2 comes to a close. It is Bryn Roberts, Blake Galloway, Chad Swatsworth, Hunter Peach, and Pacey Wygant leaving pit lane at the front of the field. As we get ready for stage number 3. Step aside for a quick word from one of our sponsors, and we'll come back with more racing to go in Daytona. Don't go anywhere. Stage 3 and the end of the Daytona 500 coming up. Welcome back, everyone. Stage 3 coming up here in the HTL Daytona 500. 4 cautions, excuse me, in this race so far. 2 cautions per stage. If the trend continues here, the World Center of Racing hosting a pretty exciting race as we get ready to go racing once again. It is Bryn Roberts that leads the way over Blake Galloway, Chad Swatsworth, Hunter Peach, and Pacey Wygant in the season opener for the HTL Cup Series. Wave rounds taking place here with 1 lap to go until we go back racing. We're glad you're with us here, HTL and ABN, kicking off Season 7 of the HTL Cup Series from Daytona to Las Vegas next Monday night. We have a thrilling race to conclude here in Daytona. As we ready to go racing once again. A lot of cars taking fuel only on that pit stop. Roberts, Galloway, Swatsworth, all in the fuel only camp. Same with Pacey Wygant, Callie Height, and Randy Payne. All on the fuel only camp. Everyone else took tires on that pit stop. Reasonable decision to make there. 32 cars on the lap following waiver rounds. So let's see how this plays out. Stage 3 about to begin. Green flag flies. Let's go. Bryn Roberts Gets an early restart there and jumps to the inside lane. However, he's got the devil's restart. No one went with him. So this is going to check up the inside lane badly when they get to him. Galloway in second, and Wygant read the room. Said the outside lane's the place to be right now. Jumped ahead of that outside lane. Patrick Overstat in that outside lane. First couple laps going to be in the books here in stage 3. Kind of just watching the ebb and flow here, studying the game. As Bryn Roberts leads Blake Galloway. Callie Height up to 4th, inside lane, working out pretty well so far. Swatsworth in 3rd. Everyone trying to make moves happen here. Outside lanes where everyone's been trying to move to make it happen. It just hasn't happened very often. Couple cars already off pace. Sasek and Odie already off pace. Live sports update. Houston has the lead. Tampa Bay trying to score with less than a minute to go in that game. The Reds and Cardinals also tied in the 8th. Close games on Monday night so far, and we've still got one game left to go on Monday night. Alongside HTL Super Bowl, the Daytona 500. Roberts, Wygant side by side for the lead. Wygant back out front. 17 laps led for the 0, and here comes Oberstadt. Patrick going to the point. Got in front of Bryn Roberts. And the teammates working large for Carolina Beagle Racing. Pretty spicy stuff going on right now. Carolina Beagle trying to control this race. They have 2 cars at the front, but they're kind of on an island at the moment. Not a lot of luck yet for Matt Vorndren, the 81, for Dale Markowski, the 33. Steven Oberstadt's 21st. He's on the lead lap, and he's looking good to go for this finish if he can get up to where his teammates are. Easier said than done. Cody Pennell in the 8 car, also in 17th. Ross Baxter, 16th. As it was often last season, Patrick Oberstadt and Bryn Roberts have been the tango for that team And they're doing it again. And the Buccaneers score. The Buccaneers will win in Tampa against the Houston Texans. It's going to be 21-19, the final score in Tampa for the first Monday Night Football game. Baker Mayfield doing his magic. Grabs the win for the Bucs. They go 2-0 on the season so far. And the Texans will have questions to answer about their team as they try to build around C.J. Stroud. And in not too long, it'll be kickoff in L.A. for the Chargers-Raiders. Love that. Love some great sports drama tonight. Galloway third behind the two Carolina Beagle Racing teammates here. Swatsworth, our leading Toyota. We do have an onboard for that number 6. There he is. We've not used it yet tonight. Here we go. One of the more experienced drivers in the field. Third on the most starts list. 110 starts behind just Alfred Denny and Blake Henderson. Denny's had a quiet night. 21 cars in 22nd place. Just trying to stay out of trouble. Henderson not so quiet of a race. He's up in 13th, but he's had an up and down day. Pit lane start due to mechanical issues. Got involved in an early caution on lap 4. Sorry, no, did not get involved in lap 4. Got involved in the caution on lap 24. So hard to keep things put together after a long broadcast. We've already been live for 2 hours. We're glad for everyone that's joined us along the way for race 1 of 23 in the HTL Cup Series season. As we ride on board with Swatsworth here, reminder, we will be live again next Monday for the Las Vegas 350. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Photo finish last time out between Bryn Roberts and Mark Kissenweather. Both of them hoping for the same, and for Kissenweather's sake, he needs it. He is only just now past Bailey Thompson for 39th, and Thompson's been out of the race now for almost 25 minutes. That's how bad Kissenweather's race has been. Extra innings. Right, going on right now for a couple of games. Cincinnati and St. Louis still top of the 8th, and they've just scored a run. It is 7-6 in Cincinnati. Still one pit stop left to make. If we get past lap 100, that window is wide open. Everyone should be able to make it to the lap 100 mark before that pit stop. Everyone knows you got to be clinical, though. Issue some of the cars that took wave rounds here. Pereira, Vorndren, Odie, sorry, not Odie, Sasek is the other one that took a waiver out here. They have 10 laps less fuel than everybody else. They may not be able to make it. Could be some significant trouble there for them. They obviously had to do what they had to do and try to get on the lead lap. Not easy. The 96, the 81, and the 9. All on the back foot on the fuel economy. .39 cars still running. Bailey Thompson, the only retirement from this race so far. Guaranteed 40th and last in tonight's Daytona 500. And we'll have to shake it off and go again at Las Vegas next week. Everyone else, still something to play for. Whether it's for the race win or just for extra points on the back end of the field. Turn number 4. Top 5, single file. Wygant working with Randy Payne on the outside lane, trying to get that lane up and going. Cody Pennell in that lane as well, the 8. Alfred Denny. Mentioned his name for the first time tonight about 10 laps ago. He has gone from 21st to 10th. Moved to that outside lane and got moving. Moves to the inside lane, got some clean real estate. He doesn't believe that outside lane's going to go much further. He might be right. Again, outnumbered 2.5, almost 3 to 1. The thing that's keeping the outside lane in the conversation is the checkups when everyone gives up momentum behind the race leader. That's an important aspect of figuring out where you want to be and when. Right now, inside lane, still your best friend. Less than 25 to go. That will not be the case anymore. And you'll see a lot more people try it. Those that have been outside lane the longest, Wygant, the Ascent team in general, the Joe Show team in general, Carolina Beagle, who have run this race pretty well, nose to tail so far. They're going to know how to handle that outside lane the best. Thankfully, the changes made earlier last week after the duels did not change how this race has played out, did not change the overall feel of how this race was going to play out from the duels. So everyone had that extra time to figure it out. But now we have a lot more cars in the conversation. 30 cars in this lead group. All the way down to Dale Markowski in 30th. 2 cars off the pace, Odie and Sasek. And we've got trouble on the racetrack. Caution comes out with about 30 laps to go, 32 laps to go at the line. And once again, it's the tri-oval that brings out caution number 5 on the night. And this starts with Hunter Peach and Josh Susie, teammates going into the grass as the melee begins. And this will make things interesting because this will put a fuel economy run in place. Upper limit, 31 laps. The average, 28 laps. We will be above that. So let's take a look. This was going to the start-finish line. We'll focus up a little bit further ahead, and we'll get one of our better camera angles here, if we can. I do believe this starts a little bit ahead of Susie and Peach. These are the two that go into the grass first to avoid it. And as you can see, it has already started. And it started with Patrick Oberstadt, the 88. You see Peach and Susie went into the grass trying to avoid it. There's Clav at the 43, almost clobbering the 24 of Susie. That would have been game over for Susie if he had been turned right there. Henderson gets through. Hidalgo, Ratliff, all four of the NFG cars that were full-time made it through there. So we'll take a look here from Patrick Oberstadt. He was already in the fence. And he just gets turned off the nose of his teammate there out of 4. Off the wall, damaged race car. Nothing he can do, unfortunately. Once your right front is broken, your steering's gone. There's just nothing you can do there. Hard hit. I believe that's Meredith. It is the 17 of Meredith. 81 of Vorndren, who needed a little bit of help. Will not get it. That's the 4 of Apperson. The 74 of Brayout also involved. Not a great time to be running around at the moment. So some cars a pit lane for some more extended work. KJ Gibney, free pass. Gives us 33 cars on the lead lap. It bailed out Eli Sasek and Richard Odie. They had lost the draft. Sasek was going to have to pit on his own. They get bailed out. KJ Gibney gets put on the lead lap here, 33rd car running. He will come down pit lane for some fuel service. And away he goes. Bren Roberts at the front. Not a good feeling after turning your teammate that you had everything hooked up with. But unfortunately, that is how the cookie crumbles at Daytona. Kickoff has taken place in LA, and we've already got our first score. The Chargers open the scoring 3-0, field goal. And now it's Raiders ball. Both AFC West teams 1-0 going into tonight's game. Only one of them will be 2-0 here and take over the lead of the AFC West. Chiefs 0-2. Broncos lost yesterday against the Colts. See how that plays out. Coming to 29 laps to go. Show you the live scores here. And there you go. So 1 game over, 2 games still going on. We'll keep an eye on that for you as this race gets ready to reach its climax. Bryn Roberts, Chad Swatsworth in your front row. Wygent, Galloway, row 2. Green flag flies. Away we go. Callie Hyatt left on her own on the outside lane with Swatsworth. But here comes the cavalry on the outside lane. Swatsworth goes inside, abandons Callie Hyatt. And now Hyatt has to lead the outside lane. New experience for the 87. That's Cody Pennell behind. Swatsworth tried to get him back in front. That gap's closed. On board from the 87. Car in the fence, Cody Pennell. Everyone stays straight. We stay green. But trouble, Callie Hyatt not able to lead. Still damage on the 87 car as well. So a damaged car leading the outside lane, not the best decision to be made. Not for lack of effort though. The 87, she needs to be behind somebody. She needs to be pushing. She needs to be second in line there for that line to really work. And that they're just not going to give her that. Well, maybe. Car moves to the outside lane. Randy Payne. Maybe you get it. There's a chance. See how this plays out. Now Callie's got to get right to the bumper of the 91. These 3 cars are going to be important. Braille needs to stay right behind the 87. 87 needs to be on the bumper of the 91 here. Need to be a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. Cody Pennell still in that lane, 4th in line on the outside. Coming to 25 laps to go. A lot of jockeying back and forth for position. Callie Hyatt once again leading the outside lane. Moving forward, though, with Braille in tow. Cody Pennell, 3rd in line outside lane. Callie Hyatt trying to side draft a little bit here. Unfortunately, a little bit unpredictable, so Braille had to back off of it. Braille thought that Callie was trying to get to the inside lane. May have been trying to. There just wasn't a window there. Callie Hyatt just does not want to be on the inside. Now she's in the middle. Now this is bad. This is the sucker hole effect. Callie Hyatt's in it now. Car coming up the middle. That is Clavitt. to help out Callie Height. Braille and Cody Pennell move to the middle in front of Callie Height. Outside lane, now the ones left out stranded. Led by Eli Sasek. 3 cars, 4 rows, 3 wide. It is Bryn Roberts, Pacey Wygant still leading the way. Galloway 3rd, Swatsworth 4th, Randy Payne, the rookie, in 5th. Inside lane is just pulled away. Top 10, all single file here. Alfred Denny in the 9th spot. A quiet race so far. Loud when it matters most here, closer to the end of the race, coming to 20 laps to go. Car coming up, Kissenweather. Outside lane's got to make a decision, and they're going to back out of it. So Kissenweather, that 2 car, outside lane, gives the race to those in the other 2 lanes, and jumps into the back. It's been a bad race for Mark Kissenweather. Not because of wreck damage, but because of mechanical issues. But he's still pushing. He'll gain another spot with Zach Meredith out of the race in what will be 39th for Meredith. Not the end of the world. Long season, as they do say. Cars goes to the inside lane. That was Odie. Was quick on the jump there to get ahead of Apperson. That was down the order. That is 30th place. Alfred Denny, pretty risky move for the 21 car to move to the outside lane like that. Here comes Hunter Peach, though. Heavy hitters beginning to move to that outside lane. We'll see how that plays out. Braille and Cody Pennell have been doing a lot of heavy lifting on that outside lane. We'll see how it plays out. Top of the 9th. Reds and Cardinals. Reds have the lead. Bases loaded, 1 out. As in San Francisco, Dodgers hosting the Phillies. That just started. Yankees, Twins in the 9th as well, but that's not close. 7-0 in favor of Minnesota. Some of the sports updates going on around the world. Less than 20 laps to go. And the tension beginning to raise. The tension getting ready to spike. Outside lane moving once again. Byron Jones now leading that outside lane ahead of Hunter Peach, ahead of Alfred Denny. Randy Payne moves up top as well. Do they trust the rookie is the question. Your friends are normally where you find them, but you get to be picky at certain points. You get to still be picky now. It's when you get to about 8 laps to go that you stop being able to do that. We'll see if that's the case here. Coming to 16 laps to go. Your two more dominant cars have been Bryn Roberts and Pacey Wygent, and they are 1-2 right now. We talked about the trend. You needed to lead about 25. The average trend was about 25 laps for the race leaders in this race. Bryn Roberts, congratulations, you've got 40. Pacey Wygent, outside lane, he's got 17. That's more laps led than the race winners of the last two 500s. 11 laps led Caitlin Height. Tommy Reynolds, 12 laps led. Both of them have exceeded those odds. And both of them started top 12. Unfortunately, the outside lane not getting the momentum that it needed behind Wygent here. Roberts and Galloway now lead the race on the inside. Swatsworth third on the inside lane. Level with Wygent. Teammates, though, on the outside. It is Wygent in pain. With Byron Jones switching to the inside lane behind Josh Arnold. Hunter Peach outside lane behind Randy Payne. Alfred Denny in the top 10, comfortably so. Fourth in line, outside lane. Here comes Wygent to the front. Here comes Payne behind. Huge surge of momentum into turn one, and they're going to try to ride it through the back straightaway. The numbers beginning to switch with less than 15 to go, and you're seeing that now. Payne abandons Wygent. Payne's got the checkered flag in his eyes. He's abandoned his teammate. Wygent stays in the outside lane, now has help from Denny. This is spicy. My goodness. If you are one of 33 cars on the lead lap, you still got a chance in some way, shape, or form. If you're one of 28 in this lead pack, you still got a good shot in this race because it can all go down in a heartbeat. 5 cautions in this race. We are averaging 2 cautions per stage. Throwing some voodoo magic on this one. Let's see if it proves me right that we get another one at the end. We do have overtime, 3 attempts at a green-white checker. Wow, that was close. Bryn Roberts cleared himself off the nose of Randy Payne. Everyone's cycling around here. 11 to go. This is some good stuff we got going on right now. We're glad you're with us here on a Monday night full of racing. It's HTL Super Bowl here on ABM. 11 to go. Roberts leads the inside lane. Blake Galloway, the open entry, the uncharted car on the outside. Trying to get some help from Pacey Wygent. Three wide in the very back of this 28-car lead pack. Car in the fence, caution's out. Caution has come out. And the field scrambles. A lot of cars going through the grass and through pit lane. Who got spun from the front of the field? I believe it wasn't Wygant. It wasn't Denny. I believe it was Blake Galloway. It was. Blake Galloway is the one that got spun around backwards. And we'll take a look here, replay from a good old spotter cam, top of the broadcast booth here on the front straightaway. And we'll look at it at speed, being pushed by Pacey Wygant. That was a very awkward hit. And everyone scrambles trying to get out of the way there. Could have been a lot worse. A lot of cars taking the pit lane road, trying to avoid the carnage. Smart move. As quickly as it started, it was over. Scary moments there. Blimp cam high above. Top two cars on the outside lane. On your screen now. And quarter speed. Bad bump there. Pushes Galloway. Yeah, Galloway already loose. Just a really hard bump there from Wygant. Yeah, and Galloway goes for a bit of a ride, and it's a hard hit. Matt Vorndren again. 2 hard hits. Tucker Sawyer gets a piece of it as well. But Vorndren again, another hard whack. Henderson tries getting through. Hidalgo puts Henderson in the fence. So Henderson's day goes from bad to worse. Live pictures. Less than 10 laps to go. Track position matters a pretty decent amount. Top 21 cars did not come down pit lane this time. Fuel mileage does matter, though. If we get all 3 overtime finishes, those that have stayed out will not make it on fuel. But that is the gamble that you make. In the thick of it. Tied at 3 is the Chargers in Las Vegas, with the Raiders at the moment still in the first quarter there, trading field goals early on. Top of the ninth still, Cincinnati has scored 4 additional runs. It is 11-6, top of the ninth, and it is the Cardinals that are giving up a bunch of runs in St. Louis. We get ready to go back racing once again. Less than 10 laps to go here in Daytona. Thank you for everyone spending your Monday night with us. We appreciate you joining us for HTL Super Bowl here in the HTL Daytona 500. Brendan Roberts, Randy Payne, Hunter Peach, Chad Swasworth, and Josh Arnold, your top 5. As the anticipation builds. This could be the last restart of the race. We've had 6 cautions so far. The question is, how many more do we get before we get to see the checkered flag here in Daytona? At the first 6 500s, if you've led the white flag, you've typically won the race. We'll see if that's the case here. It is Roberts, Payne, Peach, Swatsworth, Arnold, Wygant, Jones, Denny, Baxter, Braille, your top 10. As we get ready to go racing once again. 7 laps to go in the HTL Daytona 500. For most of this race, the outside lane's been a pariah. It is now everyone's best friend. Payne leads. 3 wide, further back. And Payne gets turned off the racetrack. Everyone gives the 91 space, and we avoid a catastrophe. That was almost a disaster. Wygant gets to the front. Oh, dear. This is not going to be pretty. Holy cow. Oh, my goodness. Huge crash. Huge crash. Huge crash. Oh, my God. That was a huge crash. Swatsworth, the race leader, with Hunter Peach behind. But a huge crash. Less than 6 laps to go. Under caution again. And this is the big one. We thought the one on lap 24 was big. This one's bigger. Trouble on the front straightaway here. And it happens pretty quick. That is Ross Baxter, Dean Clavitt. That is the 60 of Byron Jones, all involved here. And we'll play it in slow motion because it happens quickly. Jones and Wygant get together. Well, actually, we'll need to back it up for a second here. Because unfortunately, this starts before we actually got to it. It was a slow motion here. Byron Jones, full head of steam on Wygant, who had the breakaway. You got the 38 of Ross Baxter, the 43 of Dean Clavitt. There's the 90 of Mark Parkhurst also coming up here pretty quickly. Baxter turns the 60. You see the bad bump there. Turns the 60 into the 00. And everything moves north. Swatsworth very lucky. Arnold, good evasive maneuver. Denny, unable to do anything. Parking lot in the turn number 1. Absolute parking lot in the turn 1. Wow. Wild, wild, wild. Get one of our onboards on the track here. He was not a part of it. He was on his own little island when this yellow flag came out. So we're not going to look at Blake Henderson. We are going to look at Steven Overstat. He was in the middle of it. And he gets clear of it. That is wild. That is insane. Really good job by Steven Overstat. First one out of that. How about Josh Susie? On board the 24. Smoke and sparks, all you see. Just run to the grass. Run to the grass if you need to. Luckily, he doesn't need to. Avoids all of that. Happens quickly here at Daytona. Everyone knows that. Wygent now down in 20th place. Not where he wanted to be, not where he's hoping to be at this point in the race after leading for north of 20 laps. He has led 18 laps in this race. And now he's down in 20th place. Bryn Roberts, who has led the most laps to anybody, almost 50 laps led, he is down in 22nd. Life comes at you quick. It is teammates at the front of the field, though. With less than 5 laps to go, Chad Swatsworth and Josh Arnold will line up together. Hunter Peach, Alfred Denny, and Matt Vorendren. Now your top 5. Seven cautions tonight. And I have a feeling we got at least one more in us. Lights go on the pace car, which means we're going green at the end of this lap. Chad Swatsworth, Hunter Peach, Josh Arnold, Alfred Denny, Matt Vorendren, Stephen Oberstadt, Cody Pennell, Eli Sasick, Tucker Sawyer, Elias Flores, Josh Susie, Kyle Taub, your top 12. Olivia Pereira, your pole sitter, up to 13th. Randy Payne up to 14th place after being dropped out of the top 20. .32 cars on the lead lap. .37 cars still running. 3 retirements. Mark Kissenweather has gained all the positions he was going to be able to gain and has pulled it behind the wall. His day is now officially done as well. Give it Dale Markowski, the 33. He's also out. So 36 cars still running. Reds officially have beaten the Cardinals 11-6. Still 3-3 in Vegas between the Chargers and the Raiders as we are to focus down on the restart here in Daytona for all the marbles, and not an overtime attempt with 2 laps to go at the line. We can do this 4 times if we need to. Green flag flies, away we go. Teammates launch really well. Swatsworth and Josh Arnold. And it is Vorendren third in line on the inside lane. That's going to have some important decisions to make. He's going to have help. Cody Pennell is going to be with him. Down the back straightaway. If we get to the white flag, the race is official, and that's it. Can we get there? That is the magical question we're going to find out the answer to. Teammates first and second. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go, presented by the Southern Cleaning Company. This is the run to the finish. Peach outside. Alfred Denny behind him. Cars wrecking behind. No caution. We run to the flag. Cars in the fence. That's Parkhurst up in the wall. Denny trying to make a run at the front of the field. It has cost them. It's going to be in the hands of Vorndren and Cody Pennell. Can they stop the bleeding? This is the run to the finish for the HTL Daytona 500. Who's got it? Coming to the start-finish line. They wreck behind. Huge crash. Swatsworth wins. Tucker Sawyer second. Out, and KJ Gibney gets a top 3. They all wreck on the tri-oval, but it's Shad Swatsworth who finally wins the Daytona 500 and kicks off his season the best way possible. Shad Swatsworth, your race winner of the Daytona 500. Good run by Zach Apperson, top 5. Callie Height, top 10. Josh Susie, your 2-time former champion, top 10. Richard Odie, a top 10. I believe for Richard Odie, obviously he's already out. Looking at his stats, he's only had 1 career top 10. He doubles that tonight. But for Shad Swatsworth, there's your race winner in Daytona. And he gets to burn it down in style. Your Henderson Graphics winning moment. Shad Swatsworth gets to burn it down in Daytona for the first time, a race winner at the World Center of Racing. And Swatsworth finally brings it home. Great job for Shad Swatsworth. We'll hear from our podium finishers in just a moment as Shad soaks it all in here tonight. We'll hear from our podium finishers here in just a moment. We'll step aside for a quick moment as Swatsworth celebrates his winning moment here in Daytona. Welcome back, everyone, to post-race coverage of the HTL Daytona 500 here from Daytona International Speedway. A wild race. See Shad Swatsworth grab his first Daytona 500 victory ahead of Tucker Sawyer and KJ Gibney. The full results popping up on your screen right now. Shad Swatsworth, Sawyer, and Gibney. We'll hear from all 3 of them in a moment. Zach Apperson, a good run from him as well. Ahead of Steven Oberstadt, Eli Sasick, your pole sitter Olivia Pereira. Callie Height gets a top 10 from 37th on the grid. Richard Odie gets a top 10 as well, his second career top 10 in HTL Cup Series competition. Josh Susie gets back to the top 10 ahead of Cody Pennell and Hunter Peach amidst a wild finish at the end. Alfred Denny, Elias Flores, 13th and 14th. Not the way they wanted to see their races in, especially for Denny being up at the front late. Kyle Taub, Matt Vorndren, top 15 and 16th for Vorndren, respectively. A rough race for the 81, but a respectable finish, all things considered. Josh Arnold in 17th. Byron Jones in 18th. Patrick Oberstadt in 19th. Bren Robertson 20th. And Blake Galloway 21st. A lot of melee on that final lap, jumbling the positions up dramatically here. We'll jump back here. Josh Stoltz, Austin Mongo, Jeremy Brayhalt, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Of the 32 cars that finished on the lead lap here, Tyler Ratliff, Alfredo Hidalgo, Riley Garcia, Mark Parkhurst, Dean Clavitt, Pacey Wygett, and Blake Henderson and Randy Payne rounding out those lead lap cars. Kevin Feemster, Ross Baxter, Dustin Hall, and Gary Donaldson all off the lead lap there, but they do see the finish. Your retirements are very few. and you'll look, it's Markowski, Kissenweather, Meredith, and Thompson, your 4 retirements here in Daytona. A very wild turn of events, but some excited faces we get to talk to here tonight. We'll start bottom to top on the podium order with a driver who called their shot earlier today and said this was going to be a good day for KJ Gibney. It turns out being exactly that, a 3rd place in Daytona, surviving all the chaos. Walk us through it.
It was bleak at first. Let me tell you, I had during the second stage had a pit mishap. I had to come down, got black flagged, and I spun coming onto pit road again. And I was 2 laps down. Then just kind of got my luck back from there. Got the wave ones, got a lucky dog, and just kind of battled. And on that coming to the checkered, I should say, just kind of not lifted and prayed.
And obviously it works out for you here, up 35 spots from where you started, did not take part in the duels last Monday, having to work through the field. And you talk about the trouble you had early on, having to overcome that here. You called your shot about this race earlier this afternoon, that this was going to be a good day. What was the feeling like going for that? What was how did you get that optimism? And obviously it turned out pretty well getting the 3rd place today, but what was the feeling going into this race? Did you really feel like this was a legitimate possibility? Because you're on your own for the first time in a very long time. It's not like you had a lot of help tonight.
I had some friends out there, the CBR guys, Miss Callie Height obviously helped me out. We're the dynamic duo this season, and along with the CBR guys. But just kind of, did my own thing. I just had a feeling, this whole season's gonna be different. I think I'm a fringe playoff driver, and hopefully I prove that tonight.
A good way to start off the season, a 3rd place here in the Daytona 500 with Las Vegas coming up here next Monday. A wild race for you. Obviously, didn't have that extra time in the seat from missing the duels last week, and it didn't matter ultimately getting the 3rd place here tonight. Before we let you go and let you obviously celebrate the podium and relax after a wild 2.5 hours of racing, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Take it away.
First and foremost, I want to thank Callie for sticking by me with the season. We're just gonna try and dominate. And it wouldn't go without saying I can't thank Susie enough for, coaching me these last, year and a half he's been with me. I know he's in the field, didn't get what he wanted, or didn't finish where he wanted, but, I have to thank him as well. My sponsors, Grandscapers, Sewer Bros, oh my God, I'm blanking right now. DEP Designs, FDS Designs, Henderson Graphics. I have to thank all those guys making our cars look awesome. All the people at LMM, GRD, in my other leagues that are watching, helping me just improve every day. And, you for putting on an awesome broadcast week in, week out.
It was a lot of fun being here tonight in the World Center of Racing. KJ Gibney, P3 in the Daytona 500 with momentum to carry into Sin City next Monday. Congratulations and enjoy it.
Thank you.
And we'll move right on along. 2nd place, Tucker Sawyer, still figuring out these ovals, still figuring out the super speedways. Almost a race win in the biggest race of the season. Walk us through it.
Probably not going to be able to do this very well because I'm still in shock. But yeah, it went way better than I expected. But starting 14th, my plan was to just get a solid finish and stay out of trouble, which I did for the most part. And then that last restart, I told Eli I was going to follow him, and I pretty much did. And then I have the replay pulled up, so I'm watching it. But I was following them, and then they wrecked in front, and I saw a gap, and I just went for it, and it somehow worked out.
Obviously, the question going into this was, you got that first win at Watkins Glen. Ascent doubled down, grew exponentially with the work, obviously, addition of Facey Wygant on Ascent. You moved to the 97, the championship winning car from last season. The numbers game didn't seem to work out very well. It wasn't a very good team coordination tonight for the team, with a lot of issues on pit lane. You were able to stick out and get through it, kind of picking up help when you could get it. how different was this race for you compared to how it was before? Obviously, you were a rookie last season, getting through all this for the first time. What were you able to take and really use as what you learned from last season to put yourself in a better spot than where you were last year?
Well, I kind of figured out how to not race, but I kind of knew what to expect coming into this with most of these guys. Some of them don't know how to drive. Um, so I kind of knew who to not go with and who to like uh be with on track. But yeah, hopefully this season is just as good as last season. But yeah, we had some struggles on pit road, but we'll get this sorted out.
Well, you're already starting off this season better with a P3 here in the Daytona, or sorry, P2 here in the Daytona
Me too.
500. Obviously a way better start already with Las Vegas coming up, as now you start to come across tracks you've been at before and that you've had a chance to learn. Before we let you go and let you get through that, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to as you get ready for Las Vegas next Monday, if there's take it away. The floor is yours.
I'd like to shout out everybody at Ascent, Eli Sasek, Elias Flores. Sorry, I'm going blank here. Um, Josh, Randy, Pacey, like everybody, and Team Conti for the setups, and then my mom and dad and friends watching for supporting me.
Absolutely a wild job for Tucker Sawyer tonight. P2 in the Daytona 500, his best result at Daytona so far. We'll try to continue that momentum into Las Vegas next Monday. And then the first road course where you should be a favorite, Willow Springs, in 2 weeks' time. Tucker, we'll keep an eye on that 97 car. Congratulations and good luck next week.
Yep, thank you.
That was Tucker Sawyer, our second place finisher, but we have one more interview, and it is none other than your race winner here tonight. For the first time, a winner at Daytona in HTL, Shad Swatsworth. You finally did it. You've climbed the mountaintop in Daytona, and you're starting out the season the best way possible. Walk us through it. That was a wild race.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually joking with my teammates saying I'm just hoping to walk out of here on the lead lap because it seems like every time we come here, I start the season 35th in points. So to get a win here, it's a big relief. I think the only restrictor plate I won at is Dega, and that was a fluke. But yeah, I mean, the night started off pretty crappy. Had to use fast repair in that second wreck. Didn't think I really got much of it, but apparently clipped enough for the right front to where it wasn't barely hanging on. So had to use fast repair and then had to hope and pray the rest of the 100 laps or whatever it was that I wasn't going to be involved in another wreck because I'd have been sitting on pit road for minutes or been out of the race. So got lucky there. Didn't get lucky in the stages. Got no stage points. And then towards the end started working my way back up to the front. That last caution came up, put me on the front row. Lucky enough that I had a teammate right behind me who I knew wasn't going to leave me. And Josh Arnold stuck with me the whole time. And coming out of turn 4, he had told me he's starting to get red. I think he started losing power, which allowed that outside lane to get that run. But then somebody puts a car where he shouldn't have, and there ain't no room, and my teammate gets screwed, and I'm sitting here in the booth waving the checkered flag.
Obviously, it's all about how you start the seasons and building that momentum. And it seemed like this was sort of the pariah race for you. You talk about starting the season, 35th in points, it seemed like right out of the gate. That all goes away. This team, now your second year with Militia Racing Club, with Arnold and Kissenweather and Kyle Taub tonight. That sophomore season, it looked like that team was pretty well put together. Obviously, Mark had a lot of issues early on, really a lot of technical issues, nothing of his own doing. But that team worked together pretty well. You and Josh Arnold worked together a lot better this time around than what it was last season. Having all this momentum now behind you in that 6 car, you go to a track where you were competitive again last season with Las Vegas coming up. How different does this kind of put the spin on the season, knowing that you've got really the ultimate high to come off of from Daytona?
Yeah, I mean, it takes takes any stress pretty much off the rest of the season until the playoffs start, being, having a win already. And now I can just go out there and kind of run careless, to where if I get wrecked, so be it. If I don't, I'm going for the front. So, Vegas is a track that I love. I've been great every time we've gone there. Just sometimes get caught up in other people's messes, but it definitely takes a huge weight and stress knowing that the first race is over and I'm walking out of here not 35th in points and having to dig out of a hole to start the season.
Obviously, it works out for you here in a very huge way, and we'll let you celebrate a little bit more as the night goes along. Before we let you go, though, and let you celebrate your win here in the HTL Daytona 500, if there's anyone who want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations. We've watched you now for several years as you've come close to moments like this, and now you finally got a breakthrough moment, and you've got your Daytona 500.
Yeah, thanks to Minnesota Racing Club. I couldn't find 4 better guys that I'd want to sit there for hours on end. And we had a few extras in there, not technically on the team, but guys that I've been racing with for years now. So thank those guys. Thanks to Alfred and Blake for putting on this league every season, every headache that they put up with. They keep going strong. And as I think we had, 40 cars here tonight. So great show. And obviously, thanks to you, Carmen, up in the booth, because without you, we're just doing this with no audience, no way to watch it. So luckily we have you up in the booth to be able to call these races and let us be able to enjoy them and let friends and families also, and maybe just random spectators come in and watch a good show. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it watching, and the weight is off my shoulders and I'm going to drink a few beers.
And they're well-earned as well. Shaq, congratulations on your win here in Daytona. A well-earned win and a well-earned start of the season. Enjoy it, and we'll see you again in Las Vegas.
Thanks, Carmen.
And that was Shad Swatsworth, our race winner here tonight. Outstanding job from him here this evening. Take one more look here at the top 12. Shad Swatsworth, Sawyer, Gibney, your top 3. We heard from all 3 of them. Zach Apperson, top 4. Stephen Oberstadt in 5th. Eli Sasek, Olivia Pereira, Callie Height, Richard Odie, Josh Susi rounding out your top 10. Cody Pinnell and Hunter Peach just outside the top 10 in a frantic final lap. We saw a replay in slow motion during the interviews there. We already went through the full field, but we appreciate everyone tuning in tonight for a 40-car race here in Daytona. We'll be back again next Saturday for ARC's High Octane action, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch. We hope to see you then. Until next time, on behalf of everyone here for ABN, for HTL Cup Series, and all of its partners, I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you on Saturday. So long, everybody.